How are you, Josh?
Very good, my friend. How are you?
I'm good, man. How's your weekend? What day is it? I just got back from holiday, so my days are all messed up. Wednesday. How's your week going?
Yes, it's going very good, thank you. It's going very, very good. Good. A couple of days busy with one-to-ones. The start of
Yeah.
the week got one-to-ones today as well, and then the rest of the week is focused on other things. So yeah, it's going good, thank you. How was yours?
Yeah, I went to Albania, and I was there from Friday to Tuesday for this festival, and it had good and bad. The beaches were nice. The people and the service just was very cold, but I've been
Right.
told that's what the Balkans are like, that you expect it to be cold.
Yeah.
Like, because I grew up working in a restaurant, I'm just used to people coming up to you halfway through your meal and say, "Hey, how's your meal? How are you finding things?" Or welcoming you in. None of that energy was there.
No, it's weird when you work in service as well. Me and my wife say this quite often, but you pick up on all of those little things. All of those little things that you expect to see or you would typically do in a high service environment, but
Yeah.
as soon as you don't receive it, you notice it straight away.
You know, I even have a business card which is to give out to potential people that I want working for me. So I actually have a few of these business cards that I just have it in my wallet, and when I go out and if I'm greeted with someone with amazing service, or I think this person is incredible, a superstar, I want to give them that card and say, "Hey, by the way, I have a sales company. If you're interested, you might not be working in sales right now, but I'd love to talk to you more about it," and give them that card. That's something that I've done just for the last few months, and
I like that.
it's a good way to find talent, because if I see someone giving incredible service in a restaurant, it's usually a stepping stone job. Some people love it, but I find it as like, because I did it myself, for myself, if it's a stepping stone job, maybe the opportunity can find you.
Yeah. It's something that I learned when I worked for David Lloyd back in the day. We had this like rule of five. It was if you was in within 5 feet of somebody, you had to say hello and ask them how they are every single time that you actually walk past them or they walk
Yeah.
past you. And to be fair, at the time when I first joined the company, I was like, that's crazy. I'm going to be walking, especially if I walk through the restaurant, I'm going to be walking past like 10, 20 people in just one little walk. But
Which one did you sell out? Which David Lloyd was it?
it was Narborough, so Leicester way.
Okay.
Leicester
And
way, yeah.
was it with the crash as well, or was it just
Yes.
one?
Yeah, one with the crash. Yeah, it was a rackets club. It was a very, very nice club. But yeah, teach you quite a lot about service.
The rackets clubs were good, and then because those DL clubs, they ended up having good service as well, because just the training alone, that I think that you get a lot of the big, large gym chains, like like I have so much good to say about the training that I got at Virgin Active between 2015 to, let's say, 2021, that 6 year stint that I did there. I went from not understanding operations and company culture to truly understanding it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I also found out all the things I hated.
Yeah.
I went from the transition of being employee to entrepreneur, and the biggest push was feeling controlled by someone.
Correct.
Do you know, if I told you this, I had a sales director once called me. So I was managing this gym in North London, and he said to me, I was managing one gym in North London, helping another gym across the road and towards Mill Hill. So I was supporting that sales manager as well. And the director called me and said, "Hey man, there's a gym in Northwest London, Swiss Cottage it was called. If you don't go there, you're not getting this next promotion whenever it comes up." And then I remember feeling absolutely distraught that someone's controlling me like that.
Yeah.
And I hated feeling like, it felt like the walls are caving in on me. And I remember feeling suffocated by someone saying, I have to change what I'm doing. Remember,
Yeah.
I built a sales team, trained a sales team, was involved in a culture, and then I was doing a lot of operational work. And after building this team, and you build a team to really get your commission. So you build, recruit, train a high-performing sales team, so then you can make commission and they can make commission. But then when they move you to another gym, you then have to start that process again, which means there's a massive dip in earnings. So it felt like someone's not only controlling my emotional state, my progression, but also my money.
Yeah.
And that was the tipping point for me to leave. But don't know if you did you feel any sort of control when you worked at like an employer?
Yeah, absolutely. I had I was smiling when you were saying that. So I was in the sales department,
Yeah.
and the way that the sales department works in David Lloyd, and probably still does, like it's probably still very similar now, and probably in a lot of corporate companies that are that big. But you're paid very, very little. So minimum wage is like your basic, and then you basically try and thrive off the commission that you actually get.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they had this at Virgin, but in order to get your commission, so you had your sales target. Okay, so let's say it was 40 or 50 sales that you actually had to get. And at Narborough, there were high ticket gym memberships as well.
Yeah.
So we're talking £150 a month, or like over £1,000 for like the year to actually join that club. Okay. So you have to hit your target in order to get any commission anyway. So that's hurdle number one. You have to hit that target. Okay. And then at the same time, every single set, let's say it was 40 sales, every single one of those 40 sales, you had a requirement of 5 to 10 different things on a checkbox list. And there was one month, and this is what I'm relating to what you're saying, where there was one box that wasn't checked. So I had 39 sales that were qualified actual sales, and I lost out on about £2,000 to £3,000 worth of commission that month, just because I didn't get a baby's photo. And it's the trap.
To be honest with
that a
you,
lot of them put you in.
because I worked on the management side, and I used to manage salespeople to get all the information, I would see the other side of it, because obviously, look, in your lens, is the business still getting paid on the sale that I've bought in? Correct, yes. But also, on the business side, is the LTV and the potential cancellation rate of that particular customer increased because you don't have the correct ID? And that is right as well.
Yeah.
Specifically within the creche, there's obviously all the data protection and all that stuff with child safeguarding. But but as a sales manager, I would really have it strict where we get given the rules. We don't control them.
Yeah, exactly.
But as a manager, you've got to make sure your sales team is doing all those things. So what I used to do was, within the office, I used to only count the sale when you had the ID.
Yeah.
Now, within your office, it was specifically a scenario where, like, they're counting that sale even when you've not got the ID yet. You're like, I've got a sale. But if someone came into my office and said, I've got a sale, not got the 16-year-old's ID, not got the child ID, I would say, well, you don't have a sale yet.
Yeah.
When you have that, then, so what we used to do is used to put a block on the card, so then they couldn't use it. And then I used to schedule an appointment, say, your membership is actually not active. I used to tell the customer, your membership is not active until you give your ID.
Yes. Yeah.
So you can't use it. And then by saying those things, there used to be like so many tricks that I eventually worked out on how to get IDs and all that stuff, because I was one of those people that was like making an incredible volume of sales within like teams, but also had approved sales, as you would call them.
Yes. Yeah.
Of like a very high percentage, if not 90+%, or 95, 100%. So I remember having some months where I just cleared all of them. But it does bring back a lot of good business ethics that I have now, because what is a completed sale?
Yeah.
And I don't even count a sale. Like, so many of my clients text me and they'll say, just close someone. And you know what I'm saying, Josh?
Is the money in the bank?
Go on.
Is
What
the
do you
money-
ask? And they'll say, no, it's coming. It's definitely coming. It's on its way. I'm definitely going to get it. And I'll be like, do not. And I want to celebrate with that client. I want to say, amazing, well done. And I have to sometimes be like a bit of a Scrooge there and say, well, you do not have it yet. We're not counting it.
Yeah.
And they feel like I'm dimming their light when I'm doing that. Have you felt that before? Like, they've just done this hard work. And I'm like, I know you might get it, but I'm only going to celebrate it with you when you've got it. And by me saying that, they then understand not to do that again.
But I think myself and you have that ability to be like that, just because of all the scars and the battle wounds that we've had. Probably when people say they're going to join and they don't, or like things fall through like last minute. Like we've been through all of that. So yeah, it's never a nice conversation to dampen someone's spirits, but sometimes it's needed.
Yeah, it does bring me a lot of memories. Like even because I learned about the EOS model when I was working there, and the EOS model is a model of operating a company on how to get traction, how to run meetings, how to create scorecards for your staff, and that was a process that I learned there. But then I read the book Traction, and then I've been now. Like I did the certification, so like I want to start implementing that into multiple businesses. So our back-end offer now is where we'll work on sales, and when we fix a sales problem for a lot of large sales teams, we create the problem of operations. By fixing one problem, we create another problem, and the back-end offer is the problem that we create. So I fixed the sales problem on the front end with leadership, and then when that problem is fixed, they now need to operate as a bigger company. Then that is our back-end offer, the operations model.
Makes sense.
Well, you posted some like client wins about AI using some tools. I want to talk a bit about like AI tools that you're using. I've been looking very deeply into AI tools. We've started implementing them into businesses, and now with businesses becoming a lot leaner with staff, and I call it trimming the fat. So what I did with a business recently was this business makes 4 million a year, and I got to look into their finances. We loaded up all their staff and job descriptions, and then I said, what we're going to do in this session is we're going to mark with a highlighter every single thing that you and I think that we can replace with AI. We had 15 members of staff. And yeah. The socialists will hate this. Taking our jobs.
Taking our jobs. These robots are taking our jobs.
And 9 jobs we knew that we can completely give to AI, or if parts 50% AI. So we could actually tone down some roles and combine roles and use AI. And these are for larger businesses. And now I just want to talk about the tools that you've seen, and I can go into a bit of detail about the tools that we're implementing. And anyone listening to this, they can take all the knowledge here that they would probably pay a lot of money for, and because we charge our clients a lot of money, and I want to be able to just share that for free. So I want to be able to share that for free on this podcast with anyone that wants to start implementing AI, or anyone that has a smaller business and I can't afford to hire people. So just want you to talk a bit about AI tools.
Of course, absolutely. I think, like you mentioned, it's very bespoke to the individual, and I'm very new to AI as well, even though it's been on my radar for the past year, 18 months. I'm sure we've all been using it. But I very much personalize it to what that person's doing already. So similar to what you said, AI to me is something to work with you, not necessarily for you. So I don't believe it's fully effective unless you know what you're doing anyway. So what I do with certain businesses is I use AI to replace what they're already doing. And if they don't have the knowledge of that portion of their business already, then I don't necessarily recommend AI, because I believe they should have the knowledge first of how to actually do it. So for example, one of my clients recently is designing a new ebook. And you can get in the habit of every single time that you're doing a certain task manually, just Google AI for that certain tool. Just have a little Google, do a bit of research, because there's AI software for absolutely fucking everything these days. So this particular client was designing an ebook, and he'd started writing the whole thing. He knew what he wanted to get across, but he was struggling to write. So I said, well, put across like a brief paragraph, prompt ChatGPT, get across what you actually want to get out of the ebook, and write it on ChatGPT. So he did that. Okay, within 60 seconds, he'd got the copy of the ebook. He was like, right, now I need to design it. I went, well, take that copy and put it into a software called Designer. So that's design with double R at the very, very end, designer.com. Okay, now that's created the ebook itself. So now all of a sudden, the things that client was supposed to do anyway, he's just created that within 5 minutes and saved himself probably a whole day of writing the thing, and then maybe a day or two of actually designing the ebook itself to get the PDF for the lead magnet. He's done everything in 5 minutes. So he's cut back a lot of time but those are the tasks that he was going to be doing anyway, and I think that's the key point. So, an example just there. But yeah, for me, it's very dependent on using AI. You need to be using it for things that you're doing anyway, and it's very dependent on your business and what's going to make you more efficient. Like what you've just said in regards to like looking at everything, and then you can cut everything using AI. Yeah.
That's a really specifically for ebooks, because a lot of the times AI is good for speed and creativity. So if I was struggling with an idea, I could bounce ideas off with ChatGPT, or I could create so many more lead magnets. So in that scenario, he has one lead magnet, but ideally, what type of business has he got?
That's a fitness coaching company. That is.
Okay, so if you're a fitness coach, so I'm going to give, if a fitness coach listen to this, I'm going to give you a quick step-by-step on how to actually use AI in your business. So you know that you got to make content, but you're struggling on what to make content about. So you want to make content about all of your problems that your prospects have. Therefore, you need to also provide value. How do you provide more value? You give lead magnets. The lead magnets that you're going to create is you're going to create 3 to 5 lead magnets and then create 15 to 30 reels based upon every single lead magnet. So if you have one lead magnet, you're going to create an enormous amount of content based upon that one lead magnet, and then use ManyChats as a tool to be able to drive more downloads towards that lead magnet. Now, even if you've got 100 followers or 6,000 or 60,000, this works because if one person clicks, it's all automated, and then you start building that process and those habits in. So you'll use, step number 1 is you'll use like Designer as a tool, so AI to write the ChatGPT to write it, Designer to make it, then using ManyChats to actually distribute it, and then making the content around it. Doing those 4 things will massively increase the opt-ins. And the number 1 metric in your business that you should be measuring is not likes, is opt-ins.
Autopilot leads.
Yeah, autopilot leads, that's it. The AI tool that I've really had a good time using recently within businesses, so I'll say where it's ideal for. This AI tool is ideal for you're a business that has a website or a landing page that has an opt-in, and you want to give us a call back straight after the opt-in. So a customer fills in the lead information to opt into whatever information what information you need, name, phone number, current revenue, whatever it is. They fill that in. The AI tool Air, which you can also white label and resell yourself, but Air will allow you to create a bot that can sound like a human sounding voice and call someone back straight after that form is filled and say, hey, you just fill this form for this inquiry. Are you struggling with blank? Yes. Okay, great. Let me get you booked in. It's assumptive. And then it'll say, do you want Thursday or Friday? And then it books them into your salesperson's diary. And there's ways to automate it and do a round robin of GHL, HubSpot into your CRM. Then it drops it in straight for your sales rep, straight from the opt-in to the sales rep. And what that does is it allows you to trim the fat of a marketing development rep. Marketing development rep is someone that is getting like a setter and developing leads, or an SDR, which is someone who develops sales and develops new opportunities for someone to close, and it skips that entire process for you.
Yeah, smart. I've seen that. There's so many tools, and I think we're such in an infancy as well when it comes to AI. But yeah, I strongly advise it, and again, to reiterate that point, not to replace and do things that you don't have a clue on what to do, but definitely to step in and give you a helping hand. And this is where I see a lot of jack of all trade kind of solopreneurs actually start to operate, and from an outside perspective, they look like they've got a huge team, whereas in actual fact, it's still just them.
Are you a fan of Matt Gray?
I've seen his stuff. He does a lot of the animated infographic type posts, doesn't he?
Yeah, and Matt Gray, in his course, he talks all about automating a business. Everything's all about automation. And looking for when you have constraints on what you can automate. And he's managed to build massive businesses, but they're very lean. They have not a lot of staff at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it is really powerful, I think, when you start to use AI properly. And then the other one is actually using bots, training your own bots.
Yes.
I have my own little sales bot, so I've given it all my sales material, and then I've trained that bot and I've called it an Uzi bot. And now my clients in their Slack channel have access to Uzi bot, and they can ask questions, so they can look for an instant response off Uzi bot with any sales question that they have.
Well, you're frozen.
Am I back?
Sorry, you're back now. Sorry, you're frozen for a second.
That's okay. It's bound to happen.
You mentioned UziBot.
Yeah, so UziBot is in our Slack channel for clients it's a trained ChatGPT bot. So they can message me, they can message any of our account managers, or they can message the UziBot. And UziBot is a trained bot that can answer a question within a second.
Yes.
And it allows them to just constantly churn out information through my second brain.
Yeah, I love that. One I am a big fan of as well on LinkedIn, specifically is Dripify. I don't know if you've used that.
Yeah, for messages, yeah.
Yeah, big fan of that as well. Outside of Meta, but yeah, I'm still in the infancy, and implementing automations and AI is still something that I'm getting better at and learning how to do a lot more. But I'm just trying to keep a very conscious note of every single moment that I'm repeating myself. I think that's what I'm trying to do mainly, and that's what I would advise anyone to do. If you're repeating information to your customers or your team, just take mental note of that or write that down, and then actually do a bit of research. Okay, in that moment when I repeat myself, is there a way that I can streamline that, automate that? So like fitness coaches is an example, because we've both got that background. It's like when it comes to a new client actually being onboarded, why have you got to do a completely bespoke welcome video to that person? Why have you got to explain the app or the software that you actually use? Why have you got to explain if that person can eat green veg as much as they want, or diet drinks, or sort? Like all of those moments where you are repeating yourself, you can automate, and it doesn't take anything away from the service itself.
With exactly what you said, I'm going to blow your mind with this, and you can take this for free. You use Fathom AI to be an AI tool to record all of your calls. Then what you do is, every time a client asks you a question, it's recorded within Fathom AI. Then you'll download those clips and trim them into question and answer. So a client asks a question and answer, creating a Q&A portal within your Kajabi, within your course, where someone can search a question and that question is answered by you, giving you a library of hundreds of questions, and it takes no effort, because the question will be asked, you answer it, you then trim it, post it into your community, creating a searchable resource with every question that's been asked, and then you a lot of the times going into detail on that business and answering it, which creates an incredible resource for your business to be able to people to get even more information.
Yeah, and answering it once and answering it better as well.
Yeah. And then when you answer it knowing the record is on, you'll go into so much detail. You'll be like, let me break this down. You'll share your screen. You'll then say, click here. Then you're going to do this. That client's benefited because they've got a super in-depth answer. You've benefited because you've now got repeatable. It's called a camcorder method. So you then can use that method and you can distribute that a lot further.
Yeah, absolutely. I know we're both a big fan of Opus as well.
Yeah.
From long form content to short, there's so much now, so much, and I think they're continuously developing everything. And the great thing about even ChatGPT, the OG of AI, I don't think we realize, but I'll be walking down a street and someone will say, "Oh, have you heard of this ChatGPT?" Like they'll say it wrong as well, but like we don't realize how far ahead we are, even by having like this knowledge that we have right now. But the vast majority of the population haven't got a clue.
You know, when the calculator came out, accountants were fearing for their jobs.
Yeah.
But what ended up happening was accountants just ended up using the calculator.
Yeah.
And this is the same with AI. We thought when AI first was coming, we thought it'll be the blue-collar jobs that go. But it's actually been the creative jobs, copywriting, drawings, like images.
Yeah.
So the opposite has actually happened to what we thought would happen. We were thinking about all the blue collar jobs. Like my dad was working in a knife factory in the 70s. We thought those jobs would go first. Robotics has already taken over a lot of those jobs, a lot of the risk jobs as well. Because my dad used to burn his hand in the cast fire.
Yeah.
So that risk isn't there because there's a machine doing that now.
Yeah.
And we will just be using the tools better.
Yeah, 100%. 100% agree with you.
Yeah. What's your thoughts on like people going to Dubai, people going to other countries? Do you have a lot of coaches that have that goal? Because within fitness, like I've gone broader than fitness. We work with all information businesses now. But when you look at coaches and they say, right, I want to go to Dubai, I want to break down for people, how much money do you think you need to make to actually be comfortable in Dubai? Because what I think that number is far beyond what most people think there is.
I personally think, so I've had this experience with clients where they have this aspiration, they have this goal, and to move countries, and I'd like go for it. Like I've done it myself. I've moved to Spain from the UK. I've done it myself and created a better life for me and my wife. Okay, my future family moving forward. But there is no set number. Now, what I actually do when I advise this is actually calculate your perfect day. So from the moment you wake up in the morning to the moment you go to bed, what does your perfect day actually look like? Okay. Now, as soon as you've actually calculated and put that in detail, you might wake up, you might have a coffee, like you might go for a walk, you might go to the gym, you might go to a local restaurant for lunch and work on your laptop, whatever you want to do in your perfect scenario, okay? And then calculate the costs around that. And I think that's the number that you should be aiming for, obviously after tax. When it comes to people that I've worked with, and they either go, Barley and Dubai are polar opposites, by the way. We'll touch on that. We'll start with Barley. When I've had clients go to Barley, they're typically from the UK or they're from the States, and they're very, very driven. They're very, very hungry. Okay, they might start earning $5,000 a month, 6, 7, 8. They're doing very, very well. Okay, and they're living way beyond their means, and they don't have to look at a bill anymore. They're good. Okay, they're earning 6 figures plus. The moment they go to Barley, as an example, and you've got a villa there for $1,000 a month, and then you eat out, and every meal's £2, £3, and everything becomes very, very cheap. What I personally find is, and that's amazing because your expenses aren't that high, but a lot of the people that actually go there, and I've witnessed, they lose every ounce of drive and motivation that they've ever had in their entire life. They give up, they quit, okay? And then everything goes backwards, and then they have to actually move back home or move back to their...
From dream chaser to dream killer.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Now, Dubai, I find, is the opposite way to that. I find that people are doing very well. They go to Dubai, and they ignore what their perfect day was actually planned in their head when they was in their original country, and they get sucked in because everyone's trying to chase the top of the mountain, but there is no top of the mountain. There's always somebody with more money than you, always someone who's hungry than you. There's always someone with a nicer car than you, better life in your head that you actually think. So with Dubai, that I actually find, it's all about, okay, next, I'm not good enough, there's someone doing more than me, there's someone doing what, I need to keep going, I'm not satisfied, I'm not happy. And then they get in that rat race, and then they just end up spending every penny that they actually earn to try and keep up with that mindset. And then again, they have to move back. So Bali and Dubai for me are two completely polar opposites that result in them actually going to create that freedom and then having to come back home.
You know, I went to Barley last year in May, and I went for about 7-8 weeks. When I went there, I thought, I'm going to go there, I'm going to meet fitness people, I'm going to meet influencers. I was thinking like networking. When I got there, it was the most demotivated people I've ever met. It was people who were like, I'm going to focus more on guys, because I think a lot of girls I spoke to, they're like, hey, I'm here to heal my trauma. Well, when you go back home, the trauma's still going to be there. It's just escaping. So I'm going to focus more on the guys. Mm-hmm. The guys that I spoke to there, they were showing a lifestyle that they do not live. if you're in the UK and you look at Barley from the outside perspective, you're looking at, hey, this lifestyle looks amazing. The beaches look nice. The nightclubs, the gyms. You know what's actually there? Disgusting traffic. And it's a third world country where a bunch of you are going there and wearing Balenciaga in a third world Indonesian country. It makes no sense. I spent 2 months there, and I met nice people, but I can tell you, most of the people there were absolutely lost. They were thinking they're driven to make money. What they were actually doing was skimping out, just like you said, skimping out, living cheap, bragging that they're paying 65p for a meal. And when they're paying a quid for a meal, you know what happens? You're not overachieving, you're not winning. It's not like their bank balance was growing. No. They were regressing. They were getting smaller. Their business was getting smaller. Every single person that I met that came with a big business, their business got smaller. So if you want to crush your dreams, if you want to absolutely smash your motivation to bits, go to Barley.
Yeah. That's exactly what I've witnessed as well.
And on the other side, your algorithm, Instagram will move you to Barley, and then your algorithm will only show you those Barley people, and then you're going to think, why is my business not growing? Why is my all my interaction engagement gone? Well, if you're posting in Indonesia, why would Instagram push you into the UK? That makes no sense.
Yeah. Exactly what I've witnessed. Exactly. And I think it all boils down to influence as well. Because if you can stay true, like I said, that perfect day, like if you can think about that and stay true to that and aspire to actually achieve that, no matter where you are, and you can stick to your, it's like people say to me about even being in Marbella. Oh, Marbella is expensive, you need this, you need that. Well, to me it's not, and to me I haven't lost my drive because I'm living the perfect day that I mapped out years ago. I haven't been influenced by anyone or anything. I'm living the life that I want to live, and I've still got the drive that I had originally because I'm staying true to me. And, I think the influence in those locations with those types of people is people get sucked in very, very easily, and they're very weak to get sucked into it as well.
You know, I used to be super embarrassed and a bit shameful to say this, but I'll share it with you. I used to work in my bedroom, a shared accommodation in London, and my desk was next to my bed up until I hit 50 grand in a month. Yeah. I did not upgrade my lifestyle. I lived in cheap shared accommodation in London. Yeah. With my desk next to my bed, waking up, going over to my desk, and practically living in a room apart from the kitchen and the bathroom, up until I hit 50k. And people want to upgrade their lifestyle. I'd hire staff, and my staff would have better accommodation than me. Yeah. My own staff would come to visit me, and they'd see where I'm living. And you know, I used to think it would be embarrassing, but it actually drove them to be even more motivated, because they would say, I can't believe you're living like this. This is incredible. Yeah. And they would see my motivation. They would see how much I'm grinding, and then they would buy into me even more.
Yeah, and I think successful people as a whole, like in general anyway, I don't think they're influenced that easily. I really, really don't. I think they have a mission, they have a drive, they have focus, and it takes that tunnel vision. It takes a lot for someone to kind of pierce that for the people who are truly successful and happy. Because Andy Frisella says this in his recent book. Definitely recommend reading Mental Toughness if you're not already. But he mentions that hard equals happy. Like, you're only truly happy if you go through hard shit every single day. So I'm in the middle of 75 hard right now, so his personal challenge. Honestly, Usman, I've never been as happy as I am in my life right now, and I'm training twice a day. I'm fucking on a diet. I'm drinking a gallon of water. I'm reading.
Explain 75 hard. Can you break it down? Can you go into detail and break it all down?
Of course. So 75 hard is a mental challenge. So it's not a physical challenge. It's a mental toughness challenge to actually keep you disciplined and keep you consistent for 75 days straight. And you have certain rules that you actually have to tick off. It's completely free. It's Andy Frisella's challenge. Okay. Strong. I'm not sponsored by him. But I'm not being paid to say this. I'm just talking from my experience. It's amazing. So what you have to do is you have to tick off certain components every single day. So there's a task list, and if you miss one thing, you have to start the whole thing again. So it allows you to be very, very time conscious and plan ahead. It allows you to be fucking on it with absolutely everything. And the tasks that are actually on there, so first one is you have to do a gym workout for 45 minutes every day. The second one, you have to do an outdoor workout every day. That could be a swim, could be a run, could be a rush.
No rest days?
Nope, no rest days. No, nothing, not allowed. A gallon of water, 10 pages of a book every single day that you actually have to do. And you have to upload a progress photo, and then you have to stick to a diet, your choice, and no alcohol for 75 days straight. And it's honestly...
What day are you on?
I'm day 20. Day 20, and I'm feeling fucking phenomenal. Absolutely. My body's hurt. I'm not going to lie, it is hard. Obviously, that's the name of the challenge. But I'm 4.8 kilos down. I'm fucking clear. I'm focused. I'm driven. I've never been so happy in my life, and my body feels like it's been hit by a truck. But I feel great. I feel great.
And like, do you have a plan to like, what things are you going to be carrying on after? Is it like even worth you carrying anything on after, or is it just
absolutely? Yeah. So afterwards, it's actually a continuous program called Live Hard. So that's like the next.
Okay, sick. There's a back end offer to the program.
There's a back. It's all free though. There's no upsells. But
yeah.
So yeah, you go into 3 phases after 75 hard, and the Live Hard program lasts for 12 months. So phase 1, after you've completed 75 hard, can be done at any point within the remaining days of the year. And essentially it's 75 hard plus there's 5 other things, I believe there is, that you've got to then do every single day on top that you've actually got to do. And then you have a break, so that lasts for 30 days, phase 1. You then have a break for however long that you want to. And then you go back into a further 30 days, which is classed as phase 2. And then that is a repeat of 75 hard, but you're just doing it for 30 days. Because you've got those breaks in between to actually prove to yourself if you've created those habits or not. I think that's the whole purpose of it. And then your final phase, so phase 3, is to be completed in the final 30 days of the year from when you first started 75 hard, okay? So you do 75 hard, and then you have 3 sections of 30 days each time. But as long as the final phase is done within from month 11 to month 12, and the 2 phases in the middle can be done at any point, the key thing is it's the on and off of those disciplines to make sure that you are keeping those habits.
And the main like lessons that you picked up from there, do you think it's more like routine and just planning ahead? Is that the main thing that you now do you look at your entire diary for the week?
Yeah, I think you realize how much time you actually have when you have to factor in those additional things on top of everything that you're doing. And then, I mean, we've all heard that objection and that excuse that I'm busy. Everyone's busy. But then you add this in on top of everything that you're actually doing, and then you realize, well,
we should cover that objection. We're going to cover that objection on this call.
Yeah. Well, you plan in, because all of a sudden I've gone from 3 or 4 workouts a week to 14.
Yeah.
Like, think about that. And when people say that they don't have time, as an example. But I find that I'm way more productive when I have more in the diary. Way more.
And, just to focus on that objection, the objection, I am busy right now. Realistically, if you think about it, they booked that call knowing how busy they were, but after speaking to you, now they're busy. What did you say that was so wrong? What did you say? Because you can say the right things or you can say the wrong things. And you clearly said something wrong for them to say, hey, I'm really busy. Because for them to book a call, have the intention to buy, and then say, yeah, I'm too busy to be honest, bye. Imagine walking to a shop, about to buy a chocolate bar, and then saying, you know what, I'm not that hungry. I don't want chocolate. Bye.
Yeah. Exactly. It's like imagine your child's got sports day and you're supposed to be there for the parent race, and you drop your kid off at school and then turn around at the gates and go home because you're too busy. It's the same thing. It's the same thing.
Absolutely mental. And with that objection, if you do get that objection with like, hey, I'm really busy right now, I can do it later. All you gotta say is, so do you know this will take you 1 hour a week or 2 hours a week? Well, actually, rather than getting that objection, I'd rather focus on you handling the obstacle. And the obstacle, as you know, is something that you handle before the objection. And how I tackle that busy issue is, this will take between 1 to 3 hours of your time every week. Do you have that available? Yes, great. Now I can never get that busy objection.
Yeah, yeah.
Because very early on, I've told them how much time I need from them, and then I'll provide the solution based upon how much time that it's going to take them.
Yeah.
And if they have no time and the means to pay, then they can do a done-for-you system, or they have multiple options. Like your business should have a done-for-you, because that is your goal and the most you can charge, and it also allows you to price anchor.
Yeah.
And it also allows you to provide more to the people that are genuinely busy.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And you can proactively handle it and reactively handle it as well with any objection, really, not just time. But
Yeah.
I always find that if you have an objection that comes up regularly, then I would start to either look at your sales pitch itself or start to proactively handle it like earlier on in the call, so it doesn't come up, because you know it's going to come up. But again, it's with anything. It's analyzing, it's tweaking, it's improving everything that you do. But yeah, the busy one. I mean, adding all this shit into my life right now, you realise you wasn't busy.
Yeah. I actually had my laptop die during this call, but I don't know how it switched to my phone camera. This is my iPhone right now.
Yeah,
I don't know what happened, but we grinded through.
That's it. It's a nicer close up of you. I get to see that beautiful face of yours.